What's going on, Falcons fans? I'm Red the Dirty Bird, and we got to talk about week one. I know a lot of us are upset over it. I am one of them, but we got to talk about it. We're looking at the Falcons at the Vikings. Week one, Falcons did lose 12-28. It was not a good game for the Falcons at all. Looking at the game, we really didn't do much in terms of rushing, passing. We did okay. We had 272 yards passing. Rushing, we only had 73. The offensive line matchup between the Vikings defensive line was something that I pointed at to look at throughout the game. And I wish that I didn't have to look at it because it was god awful. And it kind of worries me a bit heading into week two against the Eagles' defensive line. But the Falcons' offensive line looks okay. There were some bright spots here and there. I mean, Matt Ryan wasn't constantly pressured, but he was pressured a hell of a lot of times. What's so weird about this is that the Falcons almost led in a lot of things. What am I trying to say here? The Falcons led in a lot of statistics, and they still lost. And that is due in part to the turnovers. We had 4 in this game, 2 interceptions and 1 pick. Or, same thing. 2 interceptions, 1 fumble, and 1 blocked punt, which I think that was also on our first drive. It sucks. It's week one. We shouldn't overreact to week one play. I was expecting this kind of loss. It is sad. It does upset you just because you waited so long and you get this. I waited months to watch this, but that's just whatever. The Falcons always start slow. That's just how they go the past few years under Dan Quinn. Except 2017, although they easily could have lost that game too. Let's see. Yeah, the blocked punt that happened with Bosher, it came on what looked like a blown blocking assignment by Sherrod Niesman. At least that's what Twitter tells me. And he just got destroyed in that after he punted the ball. Didn't even get a punt. He just got ran into. And the turnovers really cost us because all the Vikings points, all the 28 points that they had, came off of the turnovers. When the Falcons were able to, on a normal punt, whatever, the Falcons were able to stop the Vikings' offense. The Vikings did what they wanted to do, run the ball. Our run defense was terrible. They rushed for, about 172 yards. 172 total rushing yards. And they had a couple rushing touchdowns too. I know Dalvin Cook had 2 at least. And Kirk Cousins also had 1 rushing touchdown. But yeah, they ran the ball so much that Kirk Cousins only attempted 10 passes. Because their run game was effective. Our run defense was not effective. It was good up front. If they were trying to run up the gut, we shut that shit down. Tyler Davison looked good. He looked worth the money that we paid for him this offseason. Grady Jarrett was one of our highlights on the defense this game. And he was credited with the only sack we got this game. Vic Beasley, unfortunately, he gave up 2 sacks. He could have had 2 sacks, but he gave up on the play halfway through. There was one play, which I know a lot of people don't want to hear about again, but where he was running cross field to get Kirk Cousins, who was outside of the pocket, had him dead to rights, gave up, and Cousins were able to. I think he threw it out of bounds, or he threw it to receiver. It was one of those two. He was able to get rid of the ball. We did bring a lot of pressure though, and that was something that I was really looking for on this defensive line. We did bring some pressure. We made them like there were a couple of times I was surprised that he even got the ball off. But Keanu Neal came up with a big play. It wasn't that much of a big play because it was ruled an incomplete pass. It was a fumble, which Vic promptly kicked out of bounds. But Keanu Neal came in with the safety blitz and just laid out Cousins. That was beautiful knowing that he's back. But the first Dalvin Cook touchdown came on a long outside run where Adam Thielen kind of pulled Isaiah Oliver right out of the way, and Neal kind of took a wrong angle and missed an opportunity to make a tackle. And speaking of Isaiah Oliver, he didn't have a good game at all. He was up against Adam Thielen, who was the only good Vikings receiver that they threw to. Stephon Diggs was injured. He caught, I think, only one pass. I'm not looking at the stats for the Vikings right now, but I remember Diggs at least catching one catch. I think Dan Quinn should have swapped the defenders, had Trufant on Thielen and Oliver on Diggs. But Quinn has the mentality that DBs only have one side of the field, so that's what happened there. Let's see here. Yeah, the defense it looked bad. Just absolutely terrible. It was good to see some of our players, though, like Neal and Ricardo Allen and Deion Jones. It was good to see those guys back on the field and playing healthy. It's going to take time for them to get up to speed. And, Deion Jones, he should be good to go because he played a little bit last year compared to Neal and Allen, who had to sit out the entire year. They'll take time just because they don't want to. Because I think that play on the Dalvin Cook touchdown, Neal kind of slowed up a bit because I believe that was the same angle he took that tore his ACL. So it's just the mental game for Allen and Neal to get over that part and get playing some good football again without having to worry about injury again. On defense, I mean, what much is there to say? They killed us with the outside zone runs. We had no answer for it. Our linebackers had absolutely no answer for it. They let everything go. Now, yeah, you could say there was some holding that should have been called, but that shit's gonna happen to us eventually. That's I don't know if anyone saw Matt Bryant's wife tweet out. It's week 1. Let's hope the Falcons get all this out of their system this week. And so we're hoping that she's right. We're hoping that the Falcons got all that bad play out of their system this first week. Looking at the offensive side, the Matt Ryan interceptions, he threw one into double coverage to Julio Jones. And on the replay, it looked like Julio Jones was just a tad bit late to the ball. Like the defender got it, and Julio Jones showed up just about a little under a second late, and he didn't have enough his strong hands weren't able to pull the ball away from the defender, and the defender came down with interception, and they scored off of that drive. Like I said, they scored off of all the turnovers, so the second interception came on, and it's a confusing play because I think a lot of us assumed that it was going to be a throw out of bounds, out of the back of the end zone, because there was no open wide receiver. He was about ready to get tackled. He just probably wanted to get rid of it, not have an intentional grounding call. But the defender picked that one too. But after looking at some more tweets about it, I think people believe that he was trying to throw to a spot that Luke Stalker could get it. It's kind of like the play that we kind of ran in the divisional round 2017 against the Eagles, where Matt Ryan rolled out of the pocket to his right and tried to throw it. Well, he didn't have Julio Jones on that field. It was kind of like a goal line formation, and his only really good receiver that was open was Luke Stalker, who was covered. So take that play what you will. I'm believing that he was just trying to throw it to a spot that Luke Stalker could get it, but Luke Stalker gave up on the play halfway through, and that resulted in an interception, unfortunately. Devontae Freeman fumbled the ball, and I know that this one caused a little bit of controversy for the Falcons fans because at the end of the play, after the big huddle of the guys going for the football, Freeman was able to walk away with it, and that's I don't know what to say about that one. I have no idea. It was obvious that he fumbled the ball, but the recovery of who recovered it was not shown. So I think they just went with the ruling on the field that the Vikings recovered it. And it looked like he got hit at the ball where he was holding it and it popped out. But yeah, Freeman has to really watch those fumbles because he's really known for those nowadays. But it was good having him back on the field too for offense. I mean, he didn't have much to work with our offensive line, which was really bad. But he worked with what he got. He didn't get a lot of yards this game. I mean, let me take a look at his yards here. He had 19 yards on 8 attempts. His longest was 5, averaged 2.4 yards a carry. Ooh boy, that was bad. Matt Ryan, it was our second leading rusher with 2 attempts with 24 yards with a long of 12. And Ito Smith was our leading rusher of the day with 31 yards on 6 attempts for 16. His longest was 16 yards. And when Ito Smith came into the game, he kind of brought some offense. He brought some firepower to the offense, some spark. Because they were really rolling when he was out on the field making some plays. Russell Gage had some amazing catches, but after one of them, he got laid out, helmet-to-helmet contact by, I believe it was Harrison Smith. No flags was thrown. He's in concussion protocol. I think he has a concussion, so he'll be out for a couple weeks. Which that was a play I know a lot of us were upset at because there were a lot of helmet-to-helmet missed calls on our guys. But the refs called one on us. And that was just upsetting to watch. Especially after having our guy get laid out and thrown out. Just get laid out and is taken out of the game with a concussion. Like, Harrison Smith will be fine for that hit. Maybe. Hopefully. I don't know. He should be. But, yeah, that's just, take that as you will. Russell Gage made some good plays, but Justin Hardy did too. When he had to come in, he was overlooked. Like, a lot of people said that he's done, not worth the money. You can find a better guy out there. He came up with some big grabs. And what was unfortunate was it seemed like Ryan really wanted to throw it to him in the end zone, especially on I think on one of the 2-point conversions, it was targeted to him. But it was just right into nice coverage. It was knocked away. It was just, ugh. But other than the red zone there, he really did come up with some good plays. Let's see. Yeah, we already talked about the Bosher blocked punt. The sack on the first play of the game was terrible, and I think that was a momentum play. Like, that stadium was just loud. Like, when watching on TV, it was loud on my TV. And so I can understand getting the first sack on the very first play of your season was good for the Vikings fans. That stadium was just rocking the entire 4 quarters, which is never good for the Falcons. You think back to last year in week 1 where the Eagles had their Super Bowl celebration, the banner reveal, trophy, whatever they do. It would have been nice to have one, but they did that, and that stadium was rocking as well, and we couldn't do much. The Vikings defender that got the most sacks was Everson Griffin. I think he's got 2 sacks on Jake Matthews. maybe 3. But I mean, he made Jake Matthews look really bad. And again, it's week 1. This defense always goes off against offense in week 1, and I would expect later down the road that this offensive line really gets going. But until then, Jake Matthews had a really bad game. Let's hope he can bounce back against the Eagles this week. McGarry and Sambrailo were in and out of rotation. Kind of give McGarry a bit more conditioning, let him get used to the playing, because that was an issue that came up in the last week of the preseason, was that when his playtime was done, he was tired. And they were in and out of rotation. McGarry looked really good compared to Sambrailo. He's without a doubt the starter. I don't know how long this will last. Maybe another week, I unfortunately have to say. But yeah, McGarry was really good. I think maybe that kind of messed with the offensive line too. Just my opinion. I think the constant in and out might have messed with the flow of the game for the offensive line for those 2 players. And unfortunately, Chris Lindstrom, who had a solid game, I don't think he gave up a single pressure compared to our other players. He was really good in this game, but unfortunately he suffered a foot fracture and is on IR, but he is designated to return, and his eligible the game that he can return on is week 10 against the Saints. So maybe, unlike last year where Deion Jones was able to return, maybe Lindstrom can play in that game. But my doubts are saying, I have doubts about that. Excuse me. I think Dan Quinn's going to hold him for another week. But that sucks. And Carpenter and Mack, they weren't picked on a whole lot compared to the other guys, our tackles and interior. These guys kind of held their own and did pretty good, I'd have to say. Hooper really did awesome in the fourth quarter, getting the ball downfield, getting open. Looked really good. It looked awesome seeing that offense roll in the fourth quarter. It was amazing. Let's see. What else I have on my notes here. Yeah, I mean that was really most of the highlights there. This game was a disappointment for us. Again, it's week 1. We've sucked the past few years in week 1. We've always looked bad. Week 2, for the past 2 seasons, when we've opened, since the Mercedes-Benz was open in 2017, the Falcons are undefeated in home openers, and the Eagles are coming to Atlanta in the home opener. So maybe that streak can continue, and we look really good and beat the Eagles, who they had a comeback against the Redskins. I think they were down like 17-0, and they made a nice little comeback there. Deshaun Jackson is a weapon for that offense that we have to watch. And we also have to watch some of those other guys too, like Alshon and Ertz and Goddard. We got to watch those guys. That offense can roll. I don't really expect much out of our defensive line in week 2 against that offensive line, but we'll take a look into that one in another video later this week. I mean, it's week 1. Don't overreact to it. There's 15 other teams that lost. Some lost in just a miserable fashion, like being blown out 59-10. At least that wasn't us. I mean, yeah, we scored twice. Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones got touchdown passes. The Calvin Ridley touchdown pass was on that one against the Cardinals last year, where it was Julio Jones against, I believe it was Patrick Peterson. I mean, I don't know how they looked, but it was kind of like a diving catch kind of into the end zone. That's kind of what it was. And, after throwing 2 interceptions in that game, I was a little bit worried that this one was going to be picked off or incompleted too. But Julio Jones touchdown. I mean, that was hard to really remember too, but it was kind of like in the corner of the end zone. He just kind of caught it, did like a little back step into it. It was touchdown. And yeah, it was garbage time touchdowns. You're like, yes, understand that. Stat padding. Ooh, boo, 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 boo. I mean, I really don't care. The game's not over till the game is either blown out or the game's over. But we weren't really being blown out. Like the possibility of making a comeback was possible, but you would need a miracle to make it happen. But getting those two scores in the fourth quarter were good because it's like, hey, maybe our defense can get a couple picks. Maybe we can get the ball going downfield again. Who knows? We didn't see Matt Bryant at all because the Falcons went for 2 points on both of the touchdowns, which were okay just because if you don't, it's good to at least try because you really can't replicate that in practice in real game time. So it was kind of good to get some practice in there because you never know if our Super Bowl trip's on the line or if a playoff trip is on the line, you need 2 points to tie or win the game. There you go. The Falcons attempted a couple plays and they were both shut down. That was really mostly it for our offense and defense. That was mostly it for the game. Like there wasn't really much to talk about besides just disappointing stuff, and I really don't want to be depressed again after week 1. You just got to look forward to another week 2. Like this team, Dan Quinn said that he was pissed off Sunday night. That was the most pissed he's ever been in his life for a long time, and understandable because really you looked like a good team, and the Vikings literally just took a shit on us. And I can understand, like, we're with you, Dan Quinn. We're pissed off too. We got to hope that Dirk Cutter can come up with a good game plan, and we got to hope that Dan Quinn can come up with a good defensive game plan for this next week. And I mean, that was really it for those guys. They didn't really have, our coordinators didn't have a good game, that's for sure. Well, I'm about as depressed as I can get about week 1. So I'll be having my weekly picks come out tomorrow. So maybe you'll be able to see the Thursday night game, but just in case if you don't, I'll have it right here into the video. It's the Buccaneers at the Panthers. The Buccaneers looked really bad against the 49ers. Like the game was really kind of close watching it, and it really could have gone either way, but Jameis Winston gave up a couple interceptions against the 49ers defense, which only had, I think, like 2 last year, 2 or 3. Richard Sherman didn't have a pick since like long time, and he got his first one. So the Panthers defense didn't look too good either. The Rams really kind of played them pretty good. Cam Newton looked really bad. Christian McCaffrey was the only saving grace of that team. But both these teams lost. My money is going on the Panthers. I think they're in the same boat as us. We're, hey, we got some good players on this team. We didn't execute. We got to fucking execute, damn it. So that's what I think. I think the Panthers will win this one. And a good game. Like, it'll be another blowout game because the Buccaneers, they just don't look good. That defense still has some work to be done. That offense has a lot of work to be done. And that, Panthers offense didn't look good either. That defense kind of gave up a couple of plays as well. But this could be one of those games where the Buccaneers just decides to say, hey, I'm good. I'm going to be good this week. I'm going to be the best team in the league this week. But I doubt that one. So money's on the Panthers. Anyway, please make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you follow my Twitter at RedTheDirtyBird. You can find some okay stuff on Twitter. I'll share some Falcon stuff. I'll share some Brave stuff. Make sure you just comment, subscribe to the channel for more Falcons videos. We're going to have some more NFL picks coming out probably tomorrow or Friday if I don't get a chance to record anything tomorrow. We'll have another Falcons preview coming up this week as well, looking at the game against the Eagles. And let's hope the Falcons get a win. Start 1-1. We really don't want to start 0-2. So, well, that's going to be it for me. I'll talk to you guys later.